Hi, my name's Jeff Schaefer. Today we're going to take a look at how to bring our images into the computer using Photoshop CS4 and Adobe Bridge. Let's take a look. One of the most common ways to download your images is through the USB interface on your camera. Attach the cord to the camera. Then plug it in to the USB port on the back of the computer. Another alternative is to use a card reader. I recommend this because it saves battery life and is often much faster. There are two main types, a CF reader and an SD reader. A third type, memory stick, is used only by Sony cameras. The school's card readers can read most card types, but if you want to purchase your own, they're fairly inexpensive, around $20. The first type I'll show you is the CF card reader. Plug it into the USB port in the back, just like you did with your camera. Next, insert the card with the pins facing the slot as shown here. The flashing light indicates it is reading, and if it's steady, that means the card will appear on the desktop. Next is the secure digital card, which works in a similar way to the CF. Insert the card, then insert the reader into the USB port. As with the CF card, the light will flash and become solid once the card mounts on the desktop. Once you've connected your camera or card reader to the computer, you can begin to import your images using Adobe Bridge CS4. Here you can see we've launched Adobe Bridge. Notice that I have chosen the film strip workspace. I recommend this for editing purposes. So make sure you have that selected there. As you can see, it's highlighted, so that means we have it selected. There are a couple of different ways to get the images into Bridge from the camera or the card reader. The first, and I think the best, and this is the one I'm going to recommend, is using the photo downloader. I recommend this method because it reminds you to rename the files and add metadata, which is important for submitting the assignment and keeping track of your files. So, this is how we do it. With our camera or card reader attached, doesn't matter which, we go File, Get Photos from Camera. This will launch the photo downloader. As you see, it shows my Canon 5D is selected, and it shows me all the files that have been selected. If there were any that I didn't wish to import, I could uncheck those and they wouldn't import. You notice that I have shot both JPEG and CR2, which is a RAW file. I recommend the RAW workflow, but some of your cameras may only be able to capture JPEGs, so you'll only see JPEG. You'll also notice that I included a shot of what's known as the Macbeth color checker, which includes a number of gray patches, and we can color balance off of this chart. I shot this with the automatic white balance set, but I shot it with tungsten light, so you can see they're a bit warm. Later, I'll show you how you can use this chart to make a click balance that is custom and will balance all of these shots perfectly. It's especially recommended when using tungsten light. But for now, let's just look at our options here within this dialog box. First, we have our save options. This is where you would select your hard drive or your jump drive to save the files from the card to that particular drive. You can create subfolders if you want, but more importantly, we need to be able to rename the files. So this is how I'd like you to rename your files. Your name, last name would be fine, underscore, assignment, underscore, and the number with another underscore. And then there's 4 digits following. Each image that you submit for the assignment will have your name and the assignment name underneath. That way I'll be able to keep them straight when you hand them in. You don't need to preserve the current file name. Who wants to preserve this file name anyway? Doesn't make much sense to most of us. Other options. Open Adobe Bridge. We're already open in Adobe Bridge, so we don't need to do that. Convert to DNG. We'll get to that later. When you shoot RAW files, it is often desirable to convert them to DNG format. You'll see a little bit later what the purpose of that will be. Delete the original files. I usually don't do that from the card until I'm sure that it's backed up more than once. So you might want to wait and delete those from the card later on your next shoot. Save copies to. You could save copies to my computer's hard drive, but I wouldn't save any copies any other place for now. Basic metadata. This is good so you can enter your name and the copyright date. So now I'm going to say get photos, and it will start to import them in. Now that we've brought our images into Bridge, you can see them in the film strip along the bottom here. We have both .cr2 RAW files and .jpeg files. We're going to only open the RAW files here as we're going to make a color correction to the white balance. You notice they all seem to be a bit warm here, but we can use our color checker to make a custom click balance that will allow us to color correct it in one click. First, let's rotate the images we're going to select. We're going to select about 6 of them. So let's select one, then hold down the Control key and select several more. We can scroll over in our film strip to grab a couple of more. One more there. Okay, so now we have 6 selected. We can rotate them all at once by using this rotational tool up here on the right. So now we've rotated them all. Okay, next we're going to go back and we're going to color correct them. First, we'll click on the color checker, which you notice looks kind of warm. Let's double click on that, which will launch Camera Raw window. You see it here. All I have to do to correct this whole scene is to choose the white balance tool right here. I click on that, find a middle gray patch here, click on that, and the entire shot is now neutralized. I can go over here to the basic window and save that setting, as I'm going to apply it to all the other files. Notice you can make decisions about which ones you'd like to include. We're just going to include all of them for right now. So let's say save, and we're going to call it white balance. Okay. Now I'll say done. Next, I'm going to go back to Bridge window and select my 6 files that I've rotated. Again, holding down the Control key. And now I can say File, Open, or Command O, Open. This launches the Camera Raw window once again, and you notice you can see them all along the side here. I'm going to select all, then I'm going to go to my Basic tab, and I'm going to say Load Settings. The setting I want is white balance, and I click Load, and all of the images now have been color corrected for that color temperature. Pretty neat feature, huh? So that's all for today. Next, we'll take a look at how to process your images using Photoshop.